Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Diane Feinstein, the late senator, the senator from California, who's now the late senator from California, passed away last week. And I wanted to do a yesterday, today, and tomorrow reading on her. Now, the tomorrow is, you might say, well, she's passed away. There's no tomorrow reading. Well, there is. It's the work that she'll do spiritually from the other side. So I want to look at, if you're not familiar with how these readings work, it's a large spread. We look at a central spiritual lesson she was to learn on this planet. We look in the past, the present, and the future. And in this case, the present will be what she was working on up until her demise, and then the future will be the spiritual work she does from in the afterlife. And then on the top of the reading is the overarching spiritual message that we get from this. So come on down. Let's do a Diane Feinstein yesterday, today, and tomorrow reading for entertainment purposes only. So what was the spiritual message or the spiritual thing in Diane Feinstein's life? And these cards might come up upside down. These small decks, the cards flip all over the place. Everything is going to be read face up, even if it comes out face down. Interesting, because this just came out in the reading I did today with the Carters and her. It's, knowing when to leave. Oh, God, what an interesting concept, being that she died in office. But it's knowing when to leave, knowing when to cut bait and fish on, knowing when to compromise, and when to keep going. So here's the past. Okay, flip that over. Okay, so and the underarching message is the Ace of Swords, having a goal, a drive, something to motivate you, a cause to champion. All right, so when she was younger, she looked at life differently than the way it was. It was time, in her youth, it was time to abandon the old ways of doing things and to embrace progress, embrace a different way at looking at life. The reason for this embrace and to abandon the old ways is the old ways didn't value everything that was there. It looked at the good things. It didn't look at the bad things. You can think of this really simply illustrated as gay rights. Fights for gay rights. The old way would have the LGBTQ community as second-class citizens, and they may not even have been as high as second class. And to her, that was wrong. And that was a look that needed to change, because the old way of thinking didn't value this community. And those old values needed to go away. And new values needed to replace it. So in her youth, she came on to basically change the system, send the old way packing, and bring in new ideals, new values to it, because it was time to let go of the old ways of doing things. Current situation. Nine of Pentacles. Oh, how interesting. Think of this as what led up in her days and years up to her demise. She did very well for herself and for her constituents. She was valued. She was a senator for 3 decades, financially well off. And, there was an appreciation for what she did and what she accomplished. But remember, Pentacles is also about health. And her health was deteriorating at the end of her life, as it will for most of us. And again, okay, so we have the sword here. So again, her cause was to help the disenfranchised and the public and people at risk and stand for them. The current situation would be, I think she would have loved to have been able to sit back and enjoy what she accomplished and then spend the rest of her time with her family. But there was a nightmare situation that's developed in the government where she couldn't leave. Part of it might be ego. She hadn't completely felt like she had done everything she needed to do and needed to fight for her causes. But at the same time, you need to let go and move on and let somebody else take up the mantle. But she couldn't do it. She couldn't let go. And it was causing her anxiety. Part of it is the disappointment and the betrayal. This is your Chuck Grassley's. This is your Mitch McConnell's. These are the people that wouldn't let her leave the game. Because if she left the game, they weren't going to allow the Democratic Party to replace her with another candidate to serve on the committees that she was on. The woman was 90-something years old. She had shingles. She had fallen down. She was in cognitive decline. By all rights, she should have been sent home to spend time with her family and enjoy what years, months, weeks she had left on this planet. But these people on the other side wouldn't allow that because of political power. And her fight for the cause that she had done her whole life was so strong, she couldn't let go of it. And was causing her anxiety and probably sped up her mental decline and her demise because of the stress she was under. She felt like she couldn't let go. She would have lost too much ground. There was certainly talk with her about her retiring from the Democratic Party, but they couldn't bring the Republicans in to work with them. And I think to her, this was a huge failing because her whole life was spent working with other groups and, legislating. And now with the current group, they're not interested in legislating. They're interested in ruling. And she couldn't enjoy the last years of her life because she saw what was happening and she didn't want to let go. She knew she had personal relationships with Chuck Grassley and Mitch McConnell. She felt that she could leverage those relationships to keep what they had fought for all these years in place. But they were more than willing to tear it down in a moment's notice. She couldn't let go. In the end, she should have been able to let go, but she couldn't let go because she felt like everything that she had worked for would be greatly undone. In the afterlife, brand new journey. Not foolishness. This is new journey. She's got a new start, a new outlook, a new way of doing things. That's what we've got. We've got the Knight of Cups, Queen of Wands, and the Six of Coins. Again, in the afterlife, she's going to help guide and inspire the next generation of leaders. She's going to provide that divine guidance and guide them towards actions so that they can be their own Page of Cups. But again, I think hopefully what she will learn, help them learn, is when to compromise, when to let go, and when to leave a situation. She will help manifest through relations and reaching out to others, being of service, being charitable, helping the disenfranchised and the oppressed. With that's going to be her goal on the other side now, to grow these new leaders so that compassion can reign in the United States. Let me back this up here as we get to the final spread here. The overarching message, the spiritual message over all of this, is learning to deal with disappointment. Again, when you let go, there's going to be disappointment that you didn't get everything done that you wanted to get done, or that some of the things you get done are going to get knocked down. And I really hate this, but this is the 2 steps forward, 1 step back type analogy, which is what caused her a problem here. She they had taken so many steps forward, she didn't want to take the steps back, because it wasn't going to be, if it was 2 steps forward and 1 step back here, she probably would have left. But this was going to be 2 steps forward, 23 flights of stairs, you're shoved back down, back. And she couldn't let go of that. She saw what was going to happen. They weren't going to take 1 step back. They wanted 10 steps back. So overarching energy is how to deal with that disappointment, how to let go when things don't go your way. But, there's that fear that it's going to be worse than that. And the fear, and we're not supposed to be fear-based, we're supposed to be love-based. But that just because this is a fear doesn't mean it's not reality. I think she also saw the reality of what would happen. But maybe she needed to trust that new people would come along and fight the good fight. She just didn't see it at that time. And maybe this is a failing because she didn't step down soon enough so that fresh blood could come in there and fight that fight. She stayed too long, and that's what led to this situation. Do these, and I guess we can flip this around. So the overarching energy again is how to deal with disappointment. When you're in there and you're fighting the good fight, everybody starts off as a rookie. We all make our mistakes. We all lose a lot of sword fights early on in life, but that doesn't mean that this person isn't going to be skilled. It's just that they're new and they're raw at it. And that's where, providing guidance, keeping your emotions in control. And, when you have disappointment, you pick up the sword and you keep fighting. Yeah, you didn't win this time, but you'll get back and get them the next time. You keep your emotions in check and be thankful for the things that you did get and put a lid on it to seal it. But when it comes time to have another go around, you can take that lid off and be passionate about it. And the Hanged Man, about looking at things in a different light. Just because you see things in a certain way doesn't mean that that's the best way to go about it. Sometimes that loss can be turned into a victory. You wouldn't have seen the chance to victory because you saw the path very clearly going a certain direction, but they've thrown a curveball at you. But that curveball, instead of being a setback, can be an opportunity. And again, with every disappointment, there can be a new truth, a new sort of justice, a new direction, a new drive. So that was the life lesson of Diane Feinstein. Again, I appreciate all the work that she did for the Bay Area, for California, and for the United States. It really broke my heart to watch the end of her life. Not because she was losing her mental capacities as much. It just seems so unnecessarily cruel that politics wouldn't allow her to retire without extracting a pound of flesh from her. That was so unfair. And it's that same thing with Mitch McConnell. When we watch him freeze up a couple of times, I really would like for him to step down. Not because I find his political stances abhorrent or anything along those lines, because I do, but just out of compassion for the person. It's just, you gotta go. Just spend some time with your family with the health that you have left. Don't die in office. We don't need Mitch McConnell to die in office. We don't need Diane Feinstein to die in office. I don't know how we get around this, but certainly a Congress that works with each other as opposed to against each other would go a long way towards that. Knowing when to let go, cut bait, and fish on. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your likes and your comments and shares so that my videos make it out to the YouTube algorithm, so they get out to new viewers. And to those new viewers, especially to the first of yesterday, today, and tomorrow's spread, welcome to the channel. I do have a playlist of these videos, so if you want to check out some other ones I've got, go for it. Glad you caught this one, and I hope you catch future videos of mine. Have a great day. Bye-bye.